A big win for the gay community as its leading advocate, Access Chapter 2, is now South Africa's first LGBTI+ law clinic. The organization has now been registered for the fight for the group's rights. To tell us more about this initiative, we're joined by Executive Director at Access Chapter 2, that's Steve Letsike. Steve, a pleasure to have you on the program this afternoon. Firstly, what does Access Chapter 2's recognition as South Africa's first queer-led law clinic mean for the LGBTI+ community and also women's access to legal rights and justice?
Well, I mean, this is really quite exciting news and a milestone where we can get, access to adequate and comprehensive legal support, for LGBTI people, but also to increase legal support to women and girls in the country. As we know that there are quite a lot of issues, that we frequently have to navigate around equality and freedom, but also dignity and integrity of people. So, Access Chapter 2 being the first queer law clinic in the country really signifies the importance of really making sure that legal service, but also representation does matter when it's needed on time.
You call this a significant move, but how does the law clinic status enhance Access Chapter 2's ability to also champion justice and also advance the LGBTI+ rights, given its decade-long advocacy here?
Yeah, I think first the most important thing is to understand that, we have a very impressive system in the country. Our judiciary system is quite strong. But, what we have been fighting for is justice for the longest time. And justice, any kind of justice delayed is denied. And I think where we come in to make sure that we supplement the already existing system that has been overstretched, that takes time, but also that signifies the importance of really making sure that people get redress on time. So for us, as law clinic, it means that we can practice freely. We don't need or depend on pro bono service that takes long, and that also chooses the types of cases that LGBTI people represent. For the last 10 years, we have had the opportunity to work with our own justice system in the country, but also being supported by other law firms. But sometimes we had experience where cases, if they don't make the top media coverage, some law firms would then turn away those kind of cases. But we think for our community, we do not want to choose what case is important, and we can represent LGBTI people when it's needed to find redress and justice.
I want to stay with this theme, and I want you to share specific challenges which have been faced historically by marginalized individuals, and how Access Chapter 2 plans to address these challenges.
Yeah. So you have quite a number of challenges, because we are not only just going to look at challenges around, health services or challenges around violence. You find quite a lot of LGBTI people. So take, for instance, the research we released a few years ago with other LGBTI organization called the Love Not Hate campaign. That research revealed that 88% of LGBTI people do not report violation against them. One, because they experience what we call secondary victimization. When LGBTI people go to report cases of violation or assault, because one should not just only be murdered or raped, assault, verbal abuse, and people experience, secondary victimization. Discrimination at workplace, because you are queer, you cannot, be having a treatment that is fair or equal to you. So issues of workplace, what is happening in the education system, what is happening in the military, what is happening in all different sectors, these cases can come to AC2 as long as, they tramp on your equality, as long as they tramp on discrimination as an advancement. This is what we want to ensure that the PEPUDA Act itself, which is fighting for equality and non-discrimination, is exercised accordingly.
I guess it also then begs the question as to how does your organization then plan to leverage the Legal Practice Council's recognition to expand impact and provide high-quality legal support to a broader audience?
No, indeed. I mean, look, for the last couple of years, we have had, the in-house attorneys that have really been working overtime to provide legal service. If I give an example, just in the last year alone, we've handled over 500 cases of discrimination, of violence against LGBTI persons and women. And we thought it's necessary that, this can continue. So while a segment or a percentage of these cases are state cases, we then work together with the state. We are part of the Department of Justice National Task Team, where many of these cases go under the template of rapid response team. When these cases are reported, we then evaluate and we work with South African Police Service, we work with National Prosecuting Authority to then make sure that, the cases of hate crime, the cases of violation are documented accordingly. So the quality, it's also from the expertise. Our lawyers, our team, legal team, the paralegals that we work with, that follows up cases on a daily basis. They go to the police station with clients. They refer clients for psychosocial support, and they provide much needed adequate support to the persons to make sure that the scope of work legally is complemented with the correct evidence, the facts that can complement the case itself. And by the way, you would know that once a case is a state case, we also have the ability to even apply for amicus as friends of the court to make sure that we can follow through to get to the justice and conviction level for any matter that we're dealing with.
Now, Steve, you also serve as the executive director for this organization. How do you see this milestone shaping Access Chapter 2's future in indeed upholding legal standards and serving diverse communities as well?
Look, I think we want to become a center of excellence, and I think over time we've been building that not only just from a legal point of view. Our organization has been, for the last couple of years, working as a one-stop center. You would understand we've got various units that provide health services in collaboration with government because of the memorandum of understanding we have that people can access treatment, can access health service, can access additional support. But I think in terms of this milestone of really becoming registered and providing this adequate legal service, it really enhances our work as a center of excellence where even the intersectional lens, which is experienced by queer people, people living with HIV, people with disability, all the marginalized population finds a home. So our centers across the country has been working towards making sure that people know that they can belong, and where government fails or where we need to be bridging, we need to make sure that those services can be provided. No person in the country should be left behind because they don't have access to legal advice or service.
So you've mentioned a focus on health, legal, as well as psychosocial services. But how does Access Chapter 2 then balance these aspects to create a supportive environment for the LGBTI plus community and also women?
Look, we have experts. And, you would understand an organization would need to work with skills. We have hired people over time. In the health service, you've got professional nurses, you've got doctors who are registered according to the scope of their practice. Similarly, with psychosocial support, we've got social workers. We did have secondment from the Department of Social Development with social workers that are trained, that are sensitized, that are prepared to serve people because of understanding the sensitivity and also reduction of discrimination. So these are experts. So similarly, even in the law clinic, the paralegals, the attorneys, they are all registered and they've got rights of appearance in courts. So it's about providing adequate but also qualified skills that is sensitive but also that meets the standard set out by the regulation, set out by the acts, but also prioritizing people that needs to be served.
How does the organization then plan to collaborate with the legal entities to bridge this gap and provide comprehensive legal services?
I think we are fortunate, to have had a very good strategic partners in place. I don't think we would have achieved this work without having been mentored, guided, and supported by other legal partners. I mean, we work consistently with organizations such as Lawyers for Human Rights, Weber Wenzel, and many others, even at international level, that have continued to shape the work that we do, including redress. But I think we also are fortunate to be supported by the work that we do by Global Fund, the likes of Global Fund, which is a program that, supports the HIV response in the country. And as you know, the program is co-chaired, and the chairman of this program is the deputy president of the country, who makes sure that if we streamline priorities of addressing discrimination or social and structural drivers, but also from a health impediments, from a violence challenges, these are social ills. But we've also seen the United Nations that has also given us the opportunity to say, let's scale up. What are the opportunities that we can create as non-governmental organizations to scale up so that South Africans have got access to services? And that collaboration of multisectorality. That's what we believe in as an organization, to say that we have fought for the longest time to make sure that we address the prejudice and the long colonial legacy that has hindered people. But we need to make sure that when people move and when people's lives are threatened, they've got access to advice, education, as well as services that they do need. And part of this work that we've been doing, we've been taking time going across the country to teach people about their civil responsibility and rights, and also understanding their human rights for that matter. And our name as an organization, Chapter 2, and access is what we aim for, that people will actually live throughout and make this Chapter 2 of the Constitution a lived reality for all.
As we wrap up our conversation, and before I let you go, I want to find out from you the ways in which you'll access, or people can access Chapter 2 to engage with the public, government, and private sectors to ensure this inclusivity in services for the LGBTI plus community.
Look, I think the most important thing, a lot of things don't change. We see in person, we consult over the phone, we get inquiries through our social media. So, I mean, our contact details that always is open to the public, every day of the working day of the week, which is 010-100-3177. And all social media access Chapter 2 is there. Whether you talk TikTok, Facebook, you talk Instagram or X Space, the name Access Chapter 2 is available there. And people, when they come and they make an appointment to see any legal representative of ours or to access any other service, people can walk in. Our main office, which is in Pretoria, which is 255 Pretoria Street, is accessible for walk-ins. Similarly, in other provinces like Rustenburg, we are not only just in towns or in cities, big cities, we are also in the rural communities such as Rustenburg in Northwest or Eastern Cape and so forth. So ours is not just to look at a specific few, is to make sure that we are accessible everywhere.
Thank you very much, Steve Letsike, the Executive Director of Access Chapter 2, for joining us today in this very insightful conversation.